When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And here we are to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We got stuff and things.
So, I guess let's talk about what we've been up to this time. I will let you get started. You got quite a bit more.
Well, part of this is we did the last, of course I was out sick last week. I'm very disappointed about that, but I think I'm all better, which is good.
It's good.
This was one of them summer colds that hits you hard and knocks you right down, and I was like paranoid for several days that it would turn into something worse. But luckily, better.
Yep.
But also, before that, we did our big tribute to Rebel Gaming Club, and we got a little wild, a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I completely forgot to say what I'd been doing that week.
Well, it was all about the games.
Well, yeah. So it was basically, this is going to be 3 weeks worth, but I'm going to try and go through it pretty quickly. But I've done a ton of viewing and some interesting reading, and I'll start with the reading. I think I mentioned last time I was on here that I was working on George Orwell's 1984. It truly is a classic book. I don't know how, as an English major, I had never read Orwell.
I can't reread that at this point.
Yeah, well, it hits close to the bone. Well, let's put it that way. It hits real close to the bone. But it was a good book. And so that knocked out, I've got 2 down, and my goal to hit 10 more from the Great American Read this summer. And along those lines, I've reached the midway point today of John Green's Looking for Alaska. I'd never read anything by John Green before. I saw The Fault in Our Stars, and it was a darn good movie. It really was.
You'll have to show us how it is when you get it done.
The first half is really good, and I didn't realize it was split in 2 halves until I got there, and I was like, I see where this is going. So I'll let y'all know next time. And then in the meantime, I finally got a hold of a volume of One Piece that I was waiting on for a month. And so I read 3 volumes of One Piece back to back to back. I'm about probably 2/3 done with Baroque Works, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not that much, but I'm at least halfway point for Baroque Works. So I'm getting, some interesting characters introduced. So that was kind of interesting. Mostly it's been viewing. There's been probably some other reading too, but mostly it's been viewing, and there's been a lot of it. And in the last couple weeks, I have finished, finally, Skip Beat and Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water. So
those are good.
It was good to get those out of the way. I will say, the Skip Beat, the English dub, is good. They did a good job. I'm happy that we helped with that. I still think that show desperately needs a sequel. It really does.
At least one more season.
At least one more. Really. Oh, if anyone out there has the ability to get an anime greenlit, please.
I mean, they didn't even introduce the Beagles.
I know. But the main frustrating thing is it really does feel like it ends kind of with a whimper. Yeah. It kind of, Kyoko has her big moment, and then Ren's kind of left hanging, and it's kind of like...
well, a lot of times anime are designed as shippers for the manga.
Yeah.
And in this case, I feel like that is what it was, is they decided we need to sell our manga.
And the manga is great.
This is a good thing to whet your appetite. And that's exactly what it did for me. It got me into reading the manga when I first watched it. And I'm now rereading the manga at a slow pace, so...
Yeah. And I had already watched Red Orange before this week, right? I did. I think I talked about that on here. Talking about mangas, that was a good one. But it's been a big couple of weeks for rewatching. Big couple of weeks for rewatching. I meant to mention, I think this last one that we did was, I think, right before we did the Frogs review, right?
Yeah.
So, Frogs and the Silence of the Lambs. If you've been following along, we're working with the Movies Galore, and those both were rewatched in preparation. Silence of the Lambs is a true classic. We had a really good discussion about that, so tune in if you haven't. I had to sit last week's out, The Deep Red, partly because I'm kind of scared to watch Argento.
It was good.
And partly because I'm sick. I was sick.
You would have been able to get through it fine.
I intend to one day. That's supposed to be a good one.
Yeah.
But reviewing, I'm just going to barrel through this. Cider House Rules, Flyboys, Braveheart, St. Vincent, all movies that I own the Blu-ray. I needed to get them logged into my collection. They've all been rewatched. I love St. Vincent, by the way, if you've never seen it. One of Bill Murray's best films.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations! Thank you all.
I also rewatched Ghost in the Shell, the new movie, as a follow-up to Ghost in the Shell: Arise. Arise is pretty good. If you've seen it, right?
No.
Don't you have it?
It's
It's still tipped over. Never mind then. It's pretty good. I think it retcons a lot of Standalone Complex.
Well, that's
But-
kind of sad. Standalone Complex was good.
Yeah, but it's still it's a prequel, of course, and it's the early origins of Aramaki's Section 9,
Yeah.
Motoko Kusunagi's squad on Section 9. Very interesting. And then the new stuff. I had actually seen Pitch Perfect 2, but had never seen Pitch Perfect.
Really?
So that is finally out of the way. That was a good movie.
I need to watch the third one.
I do. One day they will release a trilogy, and I will get it, and then that'll happen. And I saw the new version of A Wrinkle in Time. It was pretty good. Disappointing, but...
It was one of those things like, hey, look, we've got an African-American actress playing prominent roles, and that was all I heard about it. Was it,
Yeah.
So...
Well, yeah, it's interesting.
That's kind of a cursed one. It's never really had a great adaptation.
So I hear. And then the main news stuff, the main ones, were the theater ones. I got to go to the Fathom Events release of Fireworks. Should we see it from the bottom or the side? Very long title. And that's the official American title.
Everybody knows fireworks are flat.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, so you actually saw that too, right?
Yep.
So, what was your thought?
See, I saw it as a matinee because work schedule.
Oh, and you saw the dub, didn't you?
Yep.
So I saw the sub. And I will say with the sub, these kids, I what would you say? They're 14 maybe? 15?
I know that one of the talks she talks about, can I pass for 16?
Yes.
So probably 13 to 14.
Because the girl, Nazuna, she could barely pass for 16. Barely. But the guys are a little younger, and one of them looks like he's 10.
Well, at that age, that's how it
Yeah,
is.
so I'm thinking they're around 13 or so. So basically, the kids act their age. They really do. So your mileage for the film, a lot of it will go for, teen antics.
It was a good dub.
I can't comment on the dub. The sub, the kid that plays the main guy, sounded too old. He really did. The guy playing him sounded too old. A lot of them sounded a little old. But overall, I'm being a little harsh on it mainly because I was disappointed. But it was a good movie. It was a lot of fun. But if you've never seen anything by Studio Shaft, they like their weird-ass camera angles. They like their weird-ass repetition of scenes from different angles.
What are some other ones that they did?
They did the Negima remix. They did F. They did some of those...
Okay, I haven't seen any of it, so...
Yeah. You've seen some. I'm not sure. I think they did Pony Pony.
Okay, well, I've seen that.
Okay,
That's-
so you know what I mean. Weird. They like weird.
Yeah.
And the movie comes across at times as off-putting because of the weird visuals. But the visuals can be gorgeous. And the music is great. The ending theme is wonderful. And the music video that goes with it is wonderful. So it was interesting.
The one thing I was a little bit, there are a couple things that disappointed me with it. I felt like the story, though it was a good story, I felt like it was one that's been rehashed a lot lately.
And it was kind of thin on story. There
And,
wasn't much there.
I really feel like they were just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah.
I almost felt like it was Girl Who Leapt Through Time light.
Yeah, I could see that comparison, definitely.
And
of course, the producer, they were marketing it as from the producer of Your Name. And apparently it's based on a short film he did in the early 90s. And so he apparently, I guess he was like, okay, well, I've got all this success now. Why don't I make a movie or something like that? And it was like, it kind of feels like it was based on a short film.
Yeah.
You know.
I did not like the, I have a beef with computer animated.
Yeah, there was
and
a lot of
cel-shaded.
CG.
And
A lot of CG.
whereas the animated stuff itself, the actual animated, not computer animated stuff, looked pretty decent and on point. It kind of felt jerky when you go to action scenes. It was clear it was in a different style.
There were some where it was worse than others, like the frequent use of the air turbines.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that so much. But that scene on the trolley car from a distance where it was clearly CG, that just really, that wasn't so good. But yeah, overall, the other one this week,
Solid film, though.
solid film, worth watching. And as you pointed out in that video, I did put a comment which said most of what I just did, but on one of last week's videos that he did. But definitely support anime when it comes to this country. We need more of it.
I had one more comment on it since we're both hitting it.
Go for it.
They had a preview of an upcoming film.
Yes.
I think it was Walk On.
I think it's called The Night is Short, Walk On, Girl.
And by the people who did Devilman Crybaby, which has had mixed reviews. The style is very reminiscent of old school cartoony. But
Old school abstract art.
I looked at that and I said to myself, this is one I want to see. August is coming up for that, and I might find myself a seat to see
The
that
screening
one.
we went to, the screening I went to, and apparently the same one for him, they had, what would you say, a 4-minute excerpt, 5-minute? It's like 4 or 5-minute excerpt of the film. It looks pretty good. And it's gotten good reviews.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Don't go to it expecting a, quote, typical anime. But visually it will be very different looking. Reminded me more of, what was that movie, Chico and Rita? The Oscar nominated?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the other one this week for the theaters, of course, was Ant-Man and the Wasp. And that, it continues Marvel's winning streak. Definitely does. It, much like the first Ant-Man, it's a very fun movie. It is one of the more family-friendly Marvel ones, although still the kids in the theater, I was like, God, some of these kids are too young for this.
Yeah.
But they do put the daughter front and center in the movie, so she gets a lot of screen time. And a lot of the things in the movie I thought were really worked. I'm not going to get into too many specifics because...
I haven't seen it either. So.
Yeah, he hadn't seen it either. And this is going to be real vague. I'm just going to say there's a lot of references to Captain America Civil War. And, of course, the first Ant-Man film.
Yeah.
But if you've seen only those two films, you will get the movie. So as long as you've seen the 2 prior appearances of Ant-Man, you're fine. But if you've seen more of the, of course, if you've got more context, it works. But one area where it works, and I'm going to be really deliberately vague, but there's one specific callback to Infinity War. And the whole theater, it was like an electric current all through the theater. Everyone's like, holy crap. So that was cool. So there is a specific callback to Infinity War, but basically this is sort of like almost a tonic after the darkness of Infinity War.
Well, I might have to try and catch it this weekend if possible.
Yeah, it's a good one. And Michelle Pfeiffer plays the Janet Van Dyne, right?
Oh, yeah, I
yeah,
heard.
she
My mother
does
gave
a fine
me
job
the
with that.
full rundown, but mostly spoilers.
And of course, Michael Pena living it up as Luis once again.
Actually, what's weird is I did predict the entire end of the movie. Then my mother's reaction seconded it.
Yeah.
Because I knew what was going to happen. I was like, okay, this is predictable about what's going to happen. Who's going to... Well, if you see Infinity War, you'll figure that out.
Inconceivable!
So, I won't be surprised. But, I wasn't going to be surprised by it anyway. All right, so, watching.
Oh, yeah. TV shows. Okay, so I've gotten a few additional episodes in of various shows. One, Boardwalk Empire. I started the DJ Sherrod specials.
That shouldn't take
Friends. Well, if I can get to it. But the two that surprisingly, two very different shows that I've been watching on the last week that have been hooked on almost. I actually have managed to acquire the first 5 seasons of CSI. I haven't really watched it since it was on the air.
Oh, right.
Even then, I stopped watching before. Was it Lawrence Fishburne that took over for William Peterson?
I don't know. I have a hard time with police procedurals.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, Peterson was the front and center for 8 seasons or so.
Yeah.
And then Fishburne came in for a couple seasons, and then Ted Danson took over. Okay. So I've seen very little of the later show, but I finally started watching it, and I've gone through the first 5 episodes, and it really is a fun show. I'm enjoying it. But nowhere near as addictive as my revisit of Squid Girl. I had resolved that when I start watching these expensive, fancy Sentai collections, I would start with the one that started all, Squid Girl. And I finally got around to it, and I love that show.
It was a fun show. Did they get the mini episodes?
The mini episodes are kind of separate from the others, but they're in there.
Okay, good.
And
I know they added them to the main episodes when they aired.
If I remember correctly, because they were like an add-on at the end, like the Tachikomatic days, right?
Yeah, like the mini Squid Girl or the baby ones.
I'm kind of annoyed that they separated them. But basically what they do is the first disc is all just straight episodes, and the second disc is the last few episodes and then the mini episodes, and they do that for each season. And then the final disc is the OVAs.
Oh, so, very good.
Yeah, so that's...
At least
and
it's all
I don't
there
think
in
I
one
ever
package.
saw the OVAs, so I'm looking forward to that.
So, which ones did you get through and did you Sherrod, the specials? Which ones have you...
First one.
Okay. So, it's still there, because it's like 4.
I think there's 5 total.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I had watched... I'll start with watching, because it's easier. And I'll get to the watch stuff in a minute. I'm started up again on Rugrats because Target had seasons 3 and 4 for cheap. This gives me hope that they will come out with the rest 5 through 9. But considering that the show had a downturn after season 4, at least I got the good stuff. I have actually been continuing to play Far Cry 5, which I will continue for a long time as it's an open world game and it's probably going to dominate pretty much all of my video game time for many years to come. It's actually interesting though because it gives you sort of you play an insurgent type character and you are fighting an evil cult, and every time you play a game it's like you have different stories. Like I recently recruited a bear to my team.
A bear?
Yeah, a bear named Cheeseburger. So I've got my bear and my cougar Peaches, and Peaches can basically stalk bad guys and take them out without seeing them in heavy armored ones that she can take out easily, and then Cheeseburger can lumber in and basically wipe the floor with most opponents. So I'm getting ready to take out the third and final of the lieutenants, the evil guys. So it's not going to be that much longer, but there's a lot of just walking around in the beautiful, like, Montana
Has the cougar asked you yet at this point if she can has cheeseburger?
Well, they don't seem to get along too well. Now, there's one game I have been playing the demo of that I wanted to talk up, which is on the Switch, and only on the Switch, which is called Octopath Traveler. Now, I've heard recently that Switches overheat. They're having an overheating issue, and it's cracking the screens, which is not good. But I don't use mine very heavily, so I guess that might be okay.
The screen, the television screens?
Yeah, well, not those, but the Switch has got a portable. You take it, you can take it on the go. That's
right.
what the.
Okay.
So that's been cracking. So be wary. Nintendo hasn't addressed it yet, but Nintendo's fandom is such that they could say, "Well, just buy a new one," and their Nintendo fans would probably say, "Okay, I'll buy a new one." But if you are a Switch, or you're thinking about a Switch, I would wait until they do something to resolve it or have an updated one. It'll probably be cheaper. That's why I was hoping if I waited a year and some change that I could actually, they'd get most of the kinks out. Unfortunately, not the case. But I haven't seen this issue yet with mine. A lot of it's for people who tend to play it in the dock, then take it out of the dock a lot. I only play it in the dock maybe on the weekends, then I play it outside of the dock most of the week. But Octopath Traveler is coming out, I think, this month or early next month. And this is an RPG that kind of goes back to the old days of 16-bit RPGs like Final Fantasy VI or 3 if you played on Super Nintendo. But they have a lot of these 3D backgrounds. At first I was having a hard time getting into it, but as I have moved on, the combat style is very intriguing. You can actually do things like you have a character that I'm playing as right now where you can investigate different people that you talk to. It's a really cool thing. I look forward to playing the whole game, and as you get to the 3-hour mark, it's going to cut off, so I'm almost to the end of that.
Oh.
You had something?
No, I just remembered one of the ones I forgot. I got to see Goodbye Christopher Robin.
Oh,
that was actually quite good.
One of the multiple Christopher Robin films.
I know, there's another one coming out. But this one features Domhnall Gleeson as A.A. Milne, the author of the stories, and Margot Robbie as his shallow, annoying wife, and Kelly MacDonald as the governess nanny who basically raised the child. Really good movie, well worth a watch.
Think it's gonna have some Oscar.
Well, it was last year.
Oh, never mind.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Christopher Robin sneaks in there and gets some interest,
Well, it's kind of weird because it was just like with The Prestige and The Illusionist.
They come in pairs.
One of them got some Oscar love, and the other one got nothing, and that was kind of weird. But both of them were equally good films, in my opinion.
Pretty close, yeah.
So finally, the watch list. I'm not going to dwell much on L'Inferno. I did a second watch because Movies Galore were Tuesday's discussion. If you haven't watched the news, I talk a little bit more on that. Not going to rehash things that I've already talked about. Same thing with Fireworks. I finished Doki Doki School Panic. School Hours. And unfortunately, it's probably one of those. I actually got the review up, and to build your suspense, I actually gave it a 4. Which, in my ratings, a 4 is it's watchable, but I have no interest in watching it again. I did watch it halfway through in the sub, and just said, no, I just don't feel like it, and just tossed it to the side. It's still sitting up there on my shelf now, but I'm not probably going to follow. So check that out Thursday, I believe this is when I post it, and you'll see more of why I rated that. Then I finished both seasons of Is This a Zombie? I thought that it's a fun series. I thought the first season did a really good job, and it was fairly nice for a harem comedy. The second season I felt like was just kind of aimless, really. It felt like it was going somewhere, but then never arrived.
It's definitely one of those franchises where they had a lot more story in the first part, and then they were more of like, let's keep on with the antics the second go around.
So it just kind of meandered around for the second part, and it's hinted at it.
Still fun. Still a fun show.
It really hinted at something, but then it didn't. So whether it was cut off before they did it, whether they intended to just say, hey, read the manga. I don't know. But enjoyable. I love my box sets. So
you're going to have a picture here of the dude with the magical girl outfit and the pink chainsaw, right?
So, it's going to be interesting. But I did not have as much viewing. I don't get a chance at much. Some of the viewing I did, I had a couple movies I sort of viewed, but as I was trying to watch them with my wife before bed, whenever I'm in the bed, I kind of conk out, so I don't remember anything I watched in the bed. Alright, so I guess let's move on into acquisitions. What we all are here for.
Yes.
Since I led off
last.
pretty much the entirety of last time, you can go first.
Ooh. Okay, and partly to make up for last week, and partly because we know you're already loving this long-ass video, and we're just you just want to be all night with us. We know this.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do a slightly longer than usual list, but it'll be fun. So first up, we have a show, kind of a controversial show, actually. One that I actually learned about it when they did the what am I trying to say? The preview, not preview. But the ANN does. They're not preview. That's not the word I'm looking for. But basically, they spotlight. They do their spotlights where they show you like the character art and the cast and everything. And I took one look at this. It's like, holy crap, the pedigree. They had a who's who of voice actors, including the famous pairing of Megumi Hayashibara and Koichi Yamadera. So you got Spike Spiegel and Faye Valentine. You got Ryoga Hibiki and Ranko Saotome. These two have paired up at least 5 times over the years, and some of them have been classics. And I was deeply disappointed to learn that they're only in the first episode. But this is a series I really wanted, and when Sentai did their complete collection, this was part of my Memorial Day pickup.
Oh.
It's Cross Ange, Rondo of Angel and Dragon. Now, the reasons why this show is controversial, for one, look at the outfits. But, for one, it's a show that trades on a lot of anime tropes, that, otaku tropes. But the main thing is Ange. Okay, she grows up as they do a phenomenal job of world building in this series. They really do. It's a world where people use something called mana, which is basically magic. And she is the first daughter of the royal family in this land that uses mana. And her mother, her father, her little sister, her vain jerk of an older brother, and her devoted maid. And they all use mana, and she grows up, and everything is cool, and everything is good, until her 16th birthday, where her brother decides to out her in front of the whole kingdom. She can't use mana. Oh. She never knew. Because everyone around her had kept the knowledge even from her. And she had grown up this elitist, entitled, racist bitch.
Oh, so she's a squib.
Basically. But she doesn't know it. And she finds herself finding out the hard way what that life is. And because her brother basically runs a coup on the kingdom and says, you're out. And her parents have to take the fall for covering for her. Oh. And she gets sent to this island where these Norma is what they're called. Basically, they pilot paramail. It's a mecha series. Mm-hmm. So it's a mecha / magic series. Okay. And it gets into interdimensional travel and all this kind of stuff. And it's a very interesting series. It's gorgeous. The opening theme by Yoko Takahashi is almost up there with her classic Eva theme. And the animation goes with it. It's one of the best openers I've ever seen.
It eventually.
It's a really good show, but there are those excessive uses of otaku tropes. And there's the fact that Ange starts off as such, you hate her.
Huh.
You really hate her.
So like Tales of the Abyss.
But by the middle of the series, basically the end of the first core, she really grows as a character. So your mileage in the series, a lot of it has to do with how much you want to see a show about the redemption of a racist elitist. You know. But on the other hand, I kind of like seeing shows where people really change. And I think she really changes. So, if nothing else, it is a gorgeous, top-notch production. Who's who of vocal cast. Eri Sendai's in there. She, I think, plays Ange. Who are some of the others? Yui Horie, I believe, is in there. I want to say Ria Kugamiya. I'd have to double-check the cast, but it's a really phenomenal cast. And it was a pretty interesting show. It's one of the few I watched during that streaming phase I did. And I've been waiting for a chance to get it. I finally got, I think the whole series cost about $27,
Right.
which is a little more than $1 an episode, so not too bad. Yeah.
So, this one I got off of Right Stuff. I couldn't help myself. This particular series is one that I saw and I was like, okay, it has to be. So, that series is Bananya.
Bananya!
So, just to read off the back, what would happen if you started to peel a tasty banana, only to find an adorable kitty lurking inside? Bananya and all of his fruity feline friends are on the loose and having many exciting escapades. Will Bananya ever achieve his lifelong dream of one day becoming a trendy chocolate-covered banana? One thing is for certain. You'll be in for a whole bunch of fun with this perfect collection.
Don't they know cats shouldn't have chocolate?
Yeah. But banana cats, you know.
Oh, obviously.
So, you know...
So you didn't tell them the horrible pun that they have up there.
Appealing
This
kitty.
this appealing kitty will drive you bananas.
So, looking at this, I was reminded of another cutesy series called Nyanpire.
Nyanpire!
Which I hope one day it's about a cat vampire. And I really do want to see it again on physical release. So maybe buying this will be an encouragement.
Nyanpire was great.
But yeah, I had to. It was just weird.
Yes. Speaking of weird, but in a good way.
In a good way.
Okay, this one is exciting for me. I've been getting some really good library pickups lately, and I will slowly be trotting them out. But this one couldn't wait. This was like, I saw this and I was like, holy crap, I am on that. These were $1 a piece. Bob Ross.
All right.
Yes. I got Autumn Stream and Seascape with Lighthouse.
Now you just have to collect the next 500 of them.
I know. I mean, God knows how many of these are out there. But still, the principle of the thing. I have Bob Ross. And, of course, if you don't know who Bob Ross is, I don't know if there's any hope for you. But, at any rate, if you do,
Well,
you
a
know,
lot of our younger audience didn't grow up with Bob Ross.
well,
like
that's
the
true.
rest of us
That's
did.
true. So definitely, if you're one of the younger audience, you should seek these out. I don't know how available they are. They were probably ordered on off the TV when they aired, or DVD. Maybe it wasn't when they aired. I don't know. Technically,
Might be when it was still airing.
it may be. But Bob Ross, he's unfortunately no longer with us, but he is one of the most famous, if not the most famous, TV painter out there.
Yeah.
And of course, if you wanted, a couple weeks ago when I presented Flying Witch, I was talking about the healing series, the ones that will put you in a
Very
sleep,
relaxing.
but in a good way. Yes, if you have any problems sleeping, but you don't want to be bored to sleep, you can put Bob Ross on, and you'll probably succeed.
Well, as we all know,
Yes.
life is full of happy little accidents.
Yes, exactly. Or as they say on Family Guy, now if you tell anyone that little bush is there, I will come to your house and I will cut you.
So, I had a birthday recently, and Criterion was starting their sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up some Criterion stuff. So I found a couple I couldn't resist, and you'll be seeing those smattered throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But one of those is an upgrade.
Hmm.
Bowling for Columbine.
Ah.
To me, probably the best Michael Moore film. I mean, to me, it was one of the best produced, and though divisive, not quite as divisive as, say, Fahrenheit 9/11. Still, I was glad to get this because, again, I do believe out of all of the films that he has done, this is probably the one that deserves the Criterion treatment the most. Though one could make a case for Roger and Me. Because that did get him his original notoriety.
You know, you sounded so much like you said Ron Jeremy.
Yes, Ron Jeremy deserves a Criterion collection.
No, that's the lesser-known Michael Moore film.
Oh, yeah, he did a Ron Jeremy documentary, yeah. So, I'm not exactly sure about a lot of the captions. It does have a couple of episodes of his series, The Awful Truth, which I have the full series of, but I'm pretty sure I know which ones, considering it's basically based on the Columbine shooting, which was the big shooting that headed off all of these school shootings. I mean, they've happened prior to that, but that really is what catapulted it into the limelight, and still happens today. But this is still, in my opinion, very relevant even
Actually,
today,
if I
if
remember
not even
correctly,
more so.
Columbine was, I don't know about you, but I think Columbine was when I was junior year in high school.
That was 99, so...
Senior year? Not to date myself too much here.
99, I was in college. So,
So yes, it was unsettling for a high school student, you know. And so I can kind of relate to anyone that's in high school right now, and but of course now it's become a
much.
show,
Yeah.
man.
I'm moving on to something else. Hopefully
Yes.
something lighter.
Yeah, something a little lighter. This will actually be the last item from the Sentai Memorial Day pickups. And this is a series I've wanted for a while, mainly because it's out there. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, when you're a true anime geek, the ones that have been around and around and around, you want, you know what I mean? Just because they're there and you keep seeing them again and again. And this one is way out of print. The original one's way out of print. And Sentai put it out, and I just never wanted to pay a lot for this series.
Yeah.
But when it came to, I think it was $12, and I think it's on sale right now for $12. I was willing to pay that for a 26-episode series. So this is their remake of a series called Godinar. I don't know much about it. It looks like it's just basically a mech series with busty females and...
Like a lot of mech series.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's really all that great. But it might be a nice diverting show to watch. And again, for $12, it's worth getting.
All right. Well, I got to look at my next one, so let me see real quick what I got. Okay. So this one's more of... for my wife. She wanted this upgrade more than I did, but I consider it, kind of a joint purchase because I used my money to do it. And that is The Breakfast Club, which came to Criterion.
How'd you get that? That's what I went to get today, and I couldn't find a Blu-ray copy.
Short pump.
You took it.
That was a short pump. But, it is probably one of the chief ones from our friend who has put out so many of these teen dramedies, so to speak, in the 90s, 80s, and it is one of those defining films. It took me a long time to see a lot of the ones, but I've seen Ferris Bueller and I've seen this
film
one.
which was a pivotal plot point in Pitch Perfect, actually.
And I'd seen Weird Science, which are all odd kind of
Yeah.
don't quite go together, but in a way they have those same attachments. It is a staple. If you haven't seen The Breakfast Club, what are you waiting on?
I am a very bad child of the 80s. I've never seen The Breakfast Club. But when I learned Criterion was doing it, I earmarked it for purchase. And I have passed up multiple opportunities to get it this spring because I want the Criterion edition. So, soon. Soon. But they didn't have it today. Okay. Is my goal? I'm actually going to go back to one of the big purchases I did from Sentai back in the Christmas season.
Oh, well.
There were two, I guess you could call them big sets that I got. Complete collections that were much bigger than your typical collections. And I'm going to go ahead and mention those. This is another one of those series like Godinar that was out for a long time. And Sentai picked it up and re-released it. And I wanted to get it and I think probably 12 or 13 or thereabouts. And that's the series Orphan. Which, if you saw almost any anime that came out of like 01, 02, this was on all the discs as a trailer. And I know the theme song because it was on all those discs.
Even had a video game adaptation, which is how I was originally introduced to it.
I don't know much about it other than what I saw in that video. But 47 episodes for approximately $13-14. That's a good buy. And it's a series that I needed to get just as a completist, as an anime fan. Yeah. It's an O, so God knows when I will ever get to it.
Never.
One day. Yeah.
So, talking about old sales, going back to Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I picked up some movies from Full Moon. And they sent a poster. So I said, you know what? I'll just go ahead and pick up the film that's related to the poster, which is Dead Man's Hand. Dead Man's Hand talks about after inheriting a casino from his dead uncle, Matthew Dragna, interesting name, his girlfriend, JJ, and a group of friends take a road trip to the outskirts of Las Vegas, where they find the rundown Mysteria Casino. But the trip takes on a frightening turn when the kids discover that the casino is haunted by the ghosts of Vegas mobsters Roy the Word Donahue, played by Sid Haig, and his goon Gil Wachetta, played by Michael Berryman, looking to settle an old score. Matthew and JJ must fight for their very souls as the ghosts seek their gruesome vengeance. In the vein of The Shining, huh? Well, we'll see about that. I'm not sure if anything by Full Moon is in the vein of The Shining, but I look forward to them. They're kind of raunchy, good fun. I have a very big order I did fairly recently from them. Well, it's big as in one big item. And I did have that nice Empire box set from them that I got for free. And so, we'll see.
Cool. All right, Mango.
Yep.
The other big collection is, again, a big number of episodes for a low cost. And this is one I have a little more familiarity with because I've actually seen the movie that's based on it. I bought it for like $2 years ago from Sentai. Probably through Right Stuff. But it's the series Sayuki, which 50-episode series. Again, probably, I don't know, it's probably like $14. Yeah, it's the same series. Okay. You got the nice ADV collection there.
That was back when they were like selling for $14 or something
like that. But this is basically, it's about a group of, a very motley group of individuals. Going around, now it's up to a renegade priest, a monkey king, a lecherous water sprite, and a sympathetic demon to stop the resurrection and return harmony to a dangerous land. Yeah, so basically, both of these seem to have a lot of the same themes, rogue demonic forces and all that kind of stuff, which is another thing that was very popular back in the day with the anime. But the movie was fun. I don't remember much about it, but it was enjoyable enough. So I'm looking forward to getting to that, but that one will be even later because that's an S. And, who knows?
Does that one include Sayuki Reload, or is that an other series?
I think that's a different series.
Yeah, because it's an alternate retelling of the OVA.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reload is a secondary series, so, yep. And that's an expensive one.
Yeah.
But, in any case,
Oh.
yeah, I've got them stored.
Sneaking down there for more.
Let's see, what have I got here? Okay. Oh, another one. Actually, this one is not so much. This one is one that I preface this. I've been enjoying some of the films of David Sterling, such as the Camp Blood, which is the one I talk about the most. But he has these Ape series movies, and there's one set called Things. So he was able to send me Things, Things 2, and Things 4.
Okay.
Which is fairly recent. But not Things 3. Because he doesn't have the rights to that.
Huh.
So I managed to finally track down a release of Things 3, which is Dead Time Tales. It's actually a portion of this kind of anthology. So I think even David Sterling's name is on the back here somewhere. Yeah, it actually is. David Sterling Production. So this allows me to complete the Things series, so I can finally watch them. I had been putting it off until I got that third one. This is kind of a nice rare find, out of print, hard to get. So, glad to see it. Even the production, Dead Alive production, is like a Dead Alive out of print movie.
Huh. Isn't that something?
I'm not gonna worry about her.
So, and now we get to what I did find when I went to Barnes & Noble today. Like I said, I went specifically, I was going to buy Breakfast Club and come back later in the month for more stuff. I do still plan to get that one this month. And I have at least one more. The last couple of sales, I've kind of started a tradition of picking up a Charlie Chaplin film each time. So I'll have to get one of those. But what I started with are two relatively recent films that needed to be gotten. Well, the first one is a film that I frankly think is overrated. Of all the films that have come out recently that deserve Criterion treatment, this one does, but I wouldn't have been one of the first I'd pick. But I went ahead and picked up Richard Linklater's Boyhood. It is a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it is a good movie.
That's a great song at the end.
But I don't really get a phenomenal love for this movie that a lot of people had. And I'm trying to remember who should have won supporting actress, but I didn't feel that Patricia Arquette should have. But at any rate, good movie. They did do something big with this movie. They did try an experiment
it's a
that was pretty
study in a way.
Yeah, it was very interesting what they did. And it's the kind of film that fully deserves a Criterion treatment because of that.
I agree.
So I'm happy to have this. I'm not really chomping at the bit to see it again, but one of these days.
All right. Well, that
was weird.
All right. So this one bears no introduction. It's one that's a classic that I should have had in my collection a long time ago. We got Stallone with Demolition Man.
I still don't have it.
Which I believe is Wesley Snipes. Yep.
Yeah.
This was one of those sort of like sci-fi comedies when they were doing tons of these things, like Total Recall.
That was a comedy?
I consider it action comedy, in my opinion. And this is a sort of like an action comedy. It's not really a comedy, but it doesn't take itself seriously. I mean, we follow Stallone into the future where he realizes things are not as great as they could be, but we all know one thing. Every restaurant is Taco Bell.
Oh, dear God.
And we all need to learn how to use the seashells. If you haven't seen the
Not
film,
to mention the restrooms.
if you haven't seen the film, you'll have to understand that for later. But it is a fun film. I'm glad to have it. It was very cheap. It was like $2.
Oh my!
Well worth getting.
Much cheaper than our Criterion pickups.
Yeah, slightly.
All right, and then my last one, which it'd be kind of funny if that's the last one you have kind of hidden under there, but you don't.
I had 2 under there, dude. Did I count it right?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, I did count wrong. So I'll put 1 back.
Well, who knows? It may be the same one. I picked up a Criterion release that I have recently seen, that I have talked about on this channel, and there's a pretty fair chance we'll be doing it soon on Movies Galore. Very fascinating film called The Lure.
Ah, yes.
Yes, I had to get it. It's just, this movie, I don't know, I love it. It's weird movie. It's, but it is a very specifically a remake of The Little Mermaid that is specifically geared towards undoing the original version, really, but also the Disney version. The fact that the film is a musical, I think they were thumbing their nose at Disney with that. It's a very interesting movie. It does come packaged with 2 very boring short films, but still, you know, it's always good to have more films in the collection. And it was worth a watch, and I'm happy to have it. And as I told him before, it's a musical. The only way to do it is on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
And happy to have that one.
Actually, what's funny is I had purchased that on the last Criterion sale. I didn't know it was out that long. I thought it had been recently released, but apparently I purchased in the last one DVD. But then I purchased it this time on Blu-ray.
See,
so
I told you had it. You told me you didn't have it.
I thought I didn't have it. And then so I upgraded it, and then I sold the one on DVD to one of the Movies Galore group because that way more of us have it.
Yeah.
I believe that's going to be your supposed choice for movie when we do get to discuss it. So it will be something sort of like a inside ball there. It's going to be one that is coming up. I don't know when, but it will be in the future.
Yep.
So last one for me. All right. So Full Moon. Another one of these Full Moon features demonic toys. The reason why I got this is because there was a crossover event between Demonic Toys and Puppet Master. So, they're cute, they're cuddly by day, but they're lethal demons by night. Ruthless killing machines come alive for just one purpose: death. And for 5 adults in an abandoned warehouse, every child's worst nightmare has become a deadly reality. While on a stakeout, Judith Gray, a beautiful, tough cop, is trapped inside a warehouse full of toys. But these are no ordinary playthings. They have been awakened to murderous life by a strange child of darkness, named the Kid. Scary name, isn't it? Each toy feeds on blood. Jack Attack heads straight for the throat. Grizzly Teddy is not afraid to show you its claws, and baby Oopsie Daisy is truly to die for. Now it's up to Gray and a passing delivery boy, Mark Wayne, to stop the deadly demonic toys. So here's a bit of the pack.
So he actually goes by Mark Wayne.
Mark Wayne is the name of the character, played by Bentley Mitchum.
Any relation to Robert?
Who knows? But I don't know. Like I said, I have an appreciation for this group, and this was really cheap. And it's good to have all of them. I have all the demonic toys. I have all the Puppet Masters. So they're just gonna be fun in general.
Sounds like it.
So That's it. I had one more, but then I thought to myself, crap, I miscounted. Unless you have something else you want to throw out
Go ahead
there.
and throw it on there real quick if you want to.
It's not a big one. It's Despicable Me 3.
Whew.
I finally got a hold of it. I hadn't seen it yet. I really want to see it. And
It's fun.
my wife likes the Minions, so we're going to have to make sure that we watch this together. And with that...
Speaking of demonic toys.
like I said, you might or might not be with us next week.
I have family obligations, birthday celebration to attend, but hopefully we'll be able to get some, if nothing else, I may get some work together. I have a video for my own channel that requires editing, so maybe I'll be able to get that done next week.
And no worries, the news and the pickups will be brought to you every week. Just you might be seeing me on my lonesome one more time. All right. Well,
and join us tomorrow. Oh, well, is this
yesterday?
Going to be yesterday? Join us yesterday.
So, just remember to like, comment,
and subscribe.
Good, and of course, share.
Share.
And we will see you on the next one.